Intergender matches, bloodline showcases, the island of relevancy. Oh my, we not gonna talk about any of that. If that's what you're looking for, I encourage you to holler at the bros though. They got you covered on all things newsworthy regarding WWE 2K25. But
wait, there's more.
Before you click away from this video, I did have something I wanted to discuss with you guys. The Creation Suite. So the best way to define the Creation Suite, in my opinion, would be like it's the lifeblood of this series. In the right hands of some of the most goated and creative community creators, it may be single-handedly the reason why a lot of us continue to play this game long after its expiration date. When the sun is set on MyRise and the universe mode ain't universing, and God forbid you're one of the ones that had to endure showcase mode with their slingshot tech, and it just leaves you wishing that they would just slingshot the mode out of existence. So when a lot of these things are up out of there and over with, the WGC will oftentimes look to those community creators as well as the mod community. Shout out to you guys as well. But these are the people that keeps the ship afloat. And needless to say, the Creation Suite has a huge part to play in that. So with that being said, we're going to talk about some of the top 10 things I would love to see make it into the Creation Suite, including some fan favorite creation modes, as well as some original outside of the box concepts that I would like to see. So WGC, lock in and let's work. Up first, we got create a weapon moveset. Now I've been asking for this one for quite a while now, and I feel like it's about that time. Just give us a weapon section in the moveset creator, along with different weapon strikes and grapples for each weapon, a couple of different positions to pull these off from, throw in some weapon finishers, and just let us cook. This is a dope one we had in the past, and again, it's just one of those features where I feel like would really help wrestlers stand out. Just throw us a decent pool of assets and let us kind of Lego together our own taunts. And it would also be cool, like if we could just edit the ones that's already in game, like if maybe we want to slow it down or speed it up and just tweak it in a way just enough to call it our own. Allow us to assign its functionality. Is it going to be a crowd taunt, an opponent taunt, or a wake up taunt? And from that point, I think we could pretty much call it good. But this is a perfect segue to the next item on my wish list. I think it would be absolutely dope if we were able to record like a 3 to 5 second voice clip and then being able to attach that to our created wrestlers. I think it would just help add a little bit more seasonings to your creations. But now that I think about it, it could also help keep the current roster more up to date because we've all seen Jimmy Uso be kind of lukewarm on the whole yeet, no yeet. So in times when he's feeling less Usy, maybe we could switch it back to no yeet.
No yeets.
Or maybe by the time the game comes out, Jacob Fatu no longer loves Solo.
I love you, Solo.
And now with the use of AI, man, we could pretty much upgrade any kind of voice taunts or catchphrases. This feature could legit go crazy. Now, let's go ahead and address the elephant in the room. Of course, there are going to be goofies and weirdos that are going to totally abuse this and say things that are inappropriate and disrespectful and just flat out pervy. So it's unfortunate that the bigots, the diddlers, and the 69 gods have to come along with the territory. But overall, I think this would be a pretty dope feature, man. Y'all comment down below and let me know what you guys think. This one is definitely on the most wanted list in terms of what the WGC would like to see in the Creation Suite. It's just something so satisfying about being able to create your own finishers and further diversifying your characters. And I always go back to this. The further you can individualize a character, the better off this game is going to be. So whether it's constructing a move from the ground up, or maybe you simply just want to throw a little extra seasoning on existing moves by adding a taunt to the beginning, the middle, or even the end of the move. Regardless of what you decide, nobody can deny that this would be a W feature to see back in this series. Speaking of W features, this one is probably in everybody's top 3, and arguably is not 2 or 3. Create a story is bordering on being needed more so than being wanted at this point. Like seriously, man, I think we've gotten to a point where create a story has to happen. It's one of those few features that can occupy that rare space known as game changing. Because if we're being honest, this feature has the ability to sell copies all by itself. And when you pair this with the rest of the creation suite, man, it's just a solid W. I would love to be able to hop on community creations and download some stories from my favorite community creators, and then just having the option to straight up play through them, or you can integrate them straight into universe mode. So again, bro, standalone or otherwise, this mode is goated, and I can honestly see why the WGC wants it back so much. This is another one that I've been personally asking for. And I keep going back to this, but anything that would help further diversify your character is always going to be good in my eyes. And I feel like this is just another example of that. As I stated in previous videos, this allows us to piece together a few grapples, strikes, taunts, and evasive maneuvers to come up with something unique that we can call our own. And I think we'll call it good from that point. This is one that I feel like doesn't really get enough love and is rarely talked about. The call names are very limited in the creation space. I can understand why some nicknames and catchphrases might be excluded, but there are some very basic names, objects, and colors that are excluded, and to be honest, it's kind of head scratching. For example, my female MyRise character's name is Rihanna Red. Now, I can understand the name Rihanna maybe not being in the game. Maybe it's due to legal reasons, or maybe it's just a rare name. And that's cool, I can accept that. But the second name, and here's where it gets crazy. The second name is a color, a basic color. And for me, this just puts into perspective how bare bones the call names really are. I would love to see 2K really put some effort into expanding these call names and just giving us a lot more on this front. It would also be dope if we could create our own call names. Now, this may be way outside of the box here, but I would love to see maybe some AI integration. Maybe 2K adds something like a virtual announcer to their website that would allow us to record our call names, and then we could get a preview of each AI ring announcer saying our names to make sure that it's accurate and to our liking. If everything's good, then we simply just upload it to the game. And of course, the disclaimer has to be that there are going to be weirdos who are going to abuse this and say some wild things. But even with that being said, I think this could possibly be a W feature with the implementation of AI. Much like the create a call name feature, I think this would be an amazing thing to have as well. Being able to name your own signatures and finishers and then having a game to actually address them as such would be a W. Following the same guidelines I laid out for create a call name, we could actually have the announce team to address your finisher by name. My MyRise character's finisher is called the Infrared, which is a RKO. And unfortunately, Michael Cole does not pass up a chance to remind me that it is indeed the RKO.
That can certainly do it.
So I can't even pretend otherwise. And it also doesn't help that they have a lot of animations tied to it that makes it obvious that it's the RKO. Which is why something as simple as just having a call name would create that illusion that it's something that's truly yours. This is another one of the more out of the box concepts, and one that is mainly aimed at MyRise. I would love to have a merch ecosystem in that mode, and one that actually earns you in-game currency like VC. So going by the natural laws of progression, the more matches you have and the better you become, the bigger your fan base grows, and that will give you access to more merchandise options. Things like shades, hats, hoodies, lucha masks, bandanas would all be at your disposal to design as you see fit. And then on top of that, how crazy would it be to actually see the crowd wearing your gear? So the more popular you become, the bigger the crowd space that's wearing your gear. I don't care what nobody say, man. Seeing an entire arena rock your gear, man, that has to make you feel a type of way. While this one mainly pertains to universe mode, it is indeed another fan favorite. There's quite a decent portion of the WGC that is calling for the return of promos. And don't get it twisted, this is not an attempt to overly romanticize this feature because, truthfully speaking, the way that it was implemented the last time it was in the game was not exactly the best. And while that doesn't diminish the value of the feature itself, I would like to see the dev team rethink their philosophy when it comes to this feature. It does not need to be some multiple choice guess the crowd emotions minigame. But to pivot away from that for a second, I want to talk more so about the creation aspect of things. I think it would be absolutely phenomenal if they allowed us to create our own promos, allow us to script everything out, and maybe give us some voiced catchphrases and one liners that we can just plug in to make the promo feel a little more authentic. Maybe this is another area where AI features can even come into play. I would also love to be able to add emotional and facial expression cues. So this would allow us to match a wrestler's facial expressions with the words that are being said. So if you are looking to convey a more serious message, then your wrestler would have an intense stare on his face or maybe a frown. But on the opposite side of that, maybe you want to have a more lighthearted promo, or maybe you want to antagonize your opponent by, kind of teasing or taunting them. Then match the facial expression with a smirk or a smile. I feel like these elements will help set the tone of the promo. Crowd reaction is another important part of the promo. And with that being said, I would love to be able to control how the crowd reacts to your promo. Having them react with a cheer, a boo, laugh, or even a crowd chant would really help bring everything together in terms of creating your own promos. But that's my take and I stand on it. But WGC, I would love to hear what you guys have to say about this. What is your creation suite wish list? Drop them down below in the comments, man. As always, I appreciate you guys for rocking with your boys. Truly, truly appreciate it. Love y'all. All glory to God. And remember to try to be a blessing to somebody. Yeet.